Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Unversed podcast. Danny here. So last episode I mentioned that the hard drive got fried, right? New intro. Well, the intro's on there. Only problem is YouTube flagged it. It's got taken down for copyright, which it's YouTube, man. What are you gonna do? You know, it's a 30-second clip of a parody track of Triple Q, which I'm pretty sure. I don't think that specific track was on there, but I was like, come on, it was Space Patrol Lulucol and Green Day. Space Patrol Idiot, I think, is the title of the track. But yeah, so that's not there anymore, so that kind of sucks. So whatever this intro is gonna be, that's what it's gonna be. So enjoy that, and then we'll get right into the episode. Alright, so we are back, and today we are talking about The Breaker New Waves. So this is what you would think would be a sequel, which actually it's not. It's a manhwa, right? It's technically season 2 of The Breaker, right? It's just this thing I think only manhwas do. I've never seen it anywhere else where they have just seasons, right? And usually seasons are just like, well, this is the end of like this section of the story. We're going to take a break and come back in season 2. Perfect example is Tower of God, right before the major time skip, when Bam decides to train for like a few years. It's like season 1 over, and then he took, I think, like 6 months off or something. I forget. But here, this is season 2 of The Breaker, which was the last manga review. And we're now here with The Breaker New Waves, and it is a continuation. No time skip like I thought. I will say though, after finishing New Waves, I'm like, okay, whenever they're gonna bring season 3 back, that has to be a time skip, I think. Like, it would be cool to see like the training and stuff that our main character is gonna do, you know, Shion, but I just don't see it happening at all. I don't know, like, I wouldn't mind the training, but it's like, we got that in the first season. Here in New Waves, we see him training like almost all the time. So for him to train yet again, you know, I'm okay. You know, like, it should just time skip forward and he masters, you know, the original style of, what his teacher taught him, right? It was the Heavenly Earth martial art technique. I forget what the technique's called. So here, yeah, it's a continuation from The Breaker, right? It's immediately where we left off, and there's just this main premises, you know, Shion is being asked to become the new head, you know, the clan head for the Sunwoo clan, because he was entrusted a Phoenix Medallion, in the last season. And of course, he doesn't want to do it. He kind of just wants to leave that world alone now. His ki center's broken, so he can't practice martial arts. And we actually get a good reasoning why you need a ki center in this, actually, because you know, eventually, of course, as a manhwa is, you know, he gets targeted, and he uses techniques that he knows, but you need ki for it. And then we see what happens. He tries to do a foot technique, and he almost snapped his ankles in half, because it's just, I guess, because you need the ki to power it. And if you don't have that, then it's just very fatal to the body, it looked like. So there's that aspect of it. Like, of course, he could still fight, and we do see him fight without the ki. And, that's just the whole, like, okay, this is proving that Shion still has guts and he could still pull this stuff off, you know? Very typical shonen stuff, if you ask me. And yeah, so he's, you know, like, I don't want to do this anymore. He's being targeted. He's trying to live a normal life now. We get introduced to new characters that are integral for this story. And just like season 1 left me wanting more out of it, right? More answers, more continuation of certain plots. And season 2 does that, right? This does that. It extends what I wanted from the first season. But when this season ends, it's like, man, there was still a lot that I wanted to see, you know, before we move on to the next major step of this story arc. And we're probably gonna get that in the next season, but I just kind of wish we get it now. You know. Now, to be fair, I'll bring it up later of what the manhwakas said about it. But the new characters are great. You know, typical stuff. And you can definitely categorize this as a shonen battle manga, specifically the ones where there's just harems as a subcategory. Nothing major of it, you know, it just happens to be there. Like My Hero Academia, you know, there's a harem there, potentially. Deku's got all these females coming up on him. There's a bunch of memes about it, right? But there's some stuff there in My Hero, technically. You know, you could kind of, if you dig deep enough, you can get that. And you know, there's other mangas and manhwas just like that. Freezing, I'm just looking at it. Well, no, Freezing, actually, that's different, because what Breaker New Waves does is it's just in the background, you know. It's like we have, again, you know, still his best friend from childhood. Everybody calls her, you know, his girlfriend, and he never denies it. And his response at one point was, "She's my precious friend," right? But you know, there's still, like, we don't really see anything. And then plus, she's not even here in like a good portion of this manhwa anyways. So that's just kind of like way in the back burners. And then we have the new character, Jeannie, and tomboyish redhead girl who's stacked, who's part of the Sunwoo clan. Her grandfather is actually one of the elders, the strongest number 2 of the 10 grandmasters. And she falls for Shiyun, and then we get this head of another school who shows up very early on, and she becomes a main character, support role, if you will. And she falls for Shiyun as well. And then, you know, the typical sexy villain is just like, ooh, I have to play with him again sometimes. He's very interesting. So that he has like this harem going on, you know. I always find that interesting with shonen battle mangas that are like this specifically, you know, because you have stuff like Dragon Ball, there's no harem there. But here, yeah. So I always find that pretty interesting. But anyways, yeah, we get right into the Miram worlds. A lot more, definitely a lot more just stuff I wanted last season to explore. And then this whole season, New Waves, is just focused on that, and that is fantastic. Especially when like there's whole other like categories going on over here, with the masters. Like, see, when I was thinking masters, I was like, yeah, Kenichi. You know, I was thinking about Kenichi because like, oh, like that's basically like students and masters, and there's a clear line separating these two classes. But here, it is not the case. There's so many, what they call them young masters, right? Masters for the next generation. And I was like, man, really? Like, I was just, you know, wasn't expecting to be this many masters, you know. It's like a whole, like, mini army of masters, all from different, you know, schools. And then there's still the, old masters that we saw at the very end of, The Breaker season 1. So, yeah, just, you know, that kind of stuff throws me off. The fighting choreography is great here. The art does, I didn't realize how much it changed until, like, you get to a certain point where when our main character, Shiyun, he starts to change drastically as a character. Like, he gets a lot of growth really fast. And, that's when the art kind of starts to change. And then there was, you know, those flashbacks where they grab the old, little panels from the manhwa for the flashback, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, I didn't realize how much the art changed. And it changed for the better, you know. It's giving me that freezing feel for it, which I'm not surprised, to say the least, because freezing is also created by manhwakas, even though it's a manga. And what else was there? There's like a bunch of Korean fan art I see, mainly of Tower of God. It kind of gets into this realm of this type of art style. You know, it gets more anime looking, I guess I'd have to say. And so we find out like the main premise of this season is basically, what's his Gun Moonsung? if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The Shiyun's teacher is going on a terroristic rampage across the planet, right? Going to all these countries, wreaking havoc with us, and he's carrying around a sword, and I'm like, why is he carrying a sword? That's not part of the martial arts technique, and so like they created this group called the SUC, which is basically anti-Miriam, and their goal is to just merge the normal world with Miriam world. Like, it's time to stop hiding, basically. And then we find out towards the end they're being puppeted by this other organization across the planet. They're like in some faraway country, and that's just pretty much the premise. Shiyun finally accepting what he has to do. In a sense, he picks up the responsibility that his master forced him to do. So, he becomes the head of the clan for Sunwoo, and he just goes through a transformation, like just nonstop. Like, he goes from training from this type of way to this other way, combining a bunch of other stuff, and pretty much after every battle, he meditates, does like some image training, gets like stupid stronger, and just goes out and fight. It's good stuff, man. I got hooked for this season for sure. 200 chapters, which is way more than what the first one was, which was only 72. So it's over double the amount of content here. And that is where the problem lies with season 3. So this ended in 2016, and there is no season 3. At the end of the manga, there was a little note, basically from the manhwaka, and he was saying like, wow, man, I can't believe we're here at the end of season 2 already. It's been such a crazy journey. He was doing it by himself. And it almost, I think he said it got picked up by something, but then it dropped early on without finishing the first season. And that really, sucked. And he had his brother help him for it. And then eventually got serialized. And then, there's like physical volumes of it now. But what he said was his original plan was for a certain number of chapters for the first, I think he said 5 volumes for season 1, which was The Breaker, and then 10 volumes for The Breaker New Waves. That wasn't the case. They practically got doubled. So I think there's like 10 volumes of The Breaker, and like about around 20 or so for New Waves. And so basically what his idea for these seasons is like they scale, right? They just double up. So his theory is for how he wants to do season 3 of The Breaker, it would be 40 volumes worth of manhwa, which is a lot to take in, that is nearing, I think that surpasses Toriko. You're nearing, Bleach and Naruto at that point. That's a long time. That's like 40 volumes, roughly 8 to 10 chapters a volume, on a weekly basis. You get around maybe 48 to 50 chapters. So that's almost, like 5 or so years worth of manhwa. Which, isn't bad, give or take. It probably will go on a little longer, depending if they take breaks. I don't know how, I didn't even realize they serialized manhwa into magazines like this. So this is a different world for me anyways. But yeah, I'm assuming it's weekly, assuming they take the same type of breaks that manga magazines do. That's a commitment, especially if you're going to stack it with The Breaker and New Waves. That's just a whole other extension. So basically he said they're taking a break. They're working on this other manhwa, which is still going on right now. I checked the subreddits, and basically they said, they said they were going to work on it when they finish this, but who knows how long this new manhwa is going to take. Assuming it's in its last arc, it's going to be a couple years. So that's, it's already been 2 years since the last chapter came out. So that's kind of, I was hoping to just hop in straight to season 3, because when I was reading it, I thought this was it, and I was like, oh man, we're getting to like the 160s, 170s in the chapters. I was like, is this gonna end how I want it to end, like a finality type of deal? And then it's like, oh no, it's just gonna lead into the next season, whatever that's going to be called, the Breaker something something. And yeah, so who knows when that's going to pop in. I would love to do an episode, but I'm just going to keep up with it. Maybe we'll do a spoiler cast, or depending where I am on this manga list, I'll talk about whatever's out. I'll wait a good amount of chapters before I talk about it on the podcast. But other than that, art's still great. Like I said, we got to see, I'm assuming it's the volume. Well, it was almost every chapter towards the back half of the manga where like we got actually color covers for each chapter, and man, they were really good. His coloring does an amazing job, and definitely a different approach, right? It's not the same type of style as just the typical manga, like the black and white version of it is. It's got finer lines. It's more compact, like more tight with how he draws the characters, and it's some really good stuff. And the plot, I like the plot a lot. We delve into a lot of characters, and it doesn't feel like there's a lot of time wasted when it comes to exploring other characters, like backstories or other schools' backstories, because it all at the end just connects anyways. So that's some really good stuff. And I think that's all I really have to say about Breaker New Waves. Again, just like the first part, it left me wanting more specifically in this season, right? I definitely wanted more New Waves with these characters. And hopefully we get season 3 soon. I'll check out what their new manhwa is that they're working on, and I'll add it to the list, and so that way I could just know like whenever that's ending, I'm gonna take a couple months off, and then they're gonna hop into season 3. So, so I'm probably gonna put that on the list. I think it's about like music or something from what I saw. I'm not too sure. But yeah, other than that, go check it out. If you read The Breaker, the New Waves is even stronger, right? And especially with like the way they tie stuff together was just awesome. So that is all I have to say today for The Breaker New Waves. Thanks for listening, guys, as always. The email is unversedpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, have you guys read The Breaker or New Waves? What did you guys think? And what do you think you want for season 3? Personally, like I said earlier, I just want a time skip. That's really all I want, especially because like the big climactic ending for this, right, that the villains were doing, it doesn't happen, so it gives us breathing room, I think, right? Especially because in the state Shion is in at the end of this, after he fought his master and just got destroyed, basically. I really hope we do get a good time skip, And again, like I guess I should point it out, like the first part was more focused on like this, him training and him understanding what this world is kind of about, getting a grip of what he has to expect, and also trying to balance that with his normal life, with school and all that. And then here it does a natural flow of him just letting go of his normal life because this is just a big priority. And we don't even know how much time has passed since he decided to become the head of the Sunbu clan till the end of this manhwa. So that would be interesting to know, if we can cut back like chapter 1 of season 3, maybe hopefully a time skip, or if not, just see like, oh, it's been so and so months since I decided to be the head. And I think that would be interesting. So, other than that, definite foreshadow. So again, just really hoping that comes out soon. And if you want to stay updated with us, that's Unversed Podcast anywhere on social media. That's where we post the newest episodes and potential updates, like with the whole hard drive thing. Fingers crossed that I could get these files out of here, because again, there's a lot of stuff that I need in there, and a lot of stuff that I don't need. So, I just hope I get the important stuff out. That's all that matters. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thanks for listening, and be sure to hop on over to Marvel Talk, our other podcast. We have the trailer analysis, breakdown, thoughts, whatever you want to call it, for the new Avengers trailer that dropped the last week. Part 1's already out, and part 2, which will be me and the boy Jake, that will be dropping soon. So be on the lookout for that over on Marvel Talk. Thanks as always, guys, and we will talk to you next time.
Peace, love, and joy to the world, to every man, woman, boy, and girl. Yeah, happiness, give it a whirl, give it a test drive. It's the reason why Christmas is the best time. Yes, I'm sending this out to you, hoping you will send it to your crew too. Yeah, merci beaucoup. If anybody grooves to the tune, it's cool too. If it isn't what you do, do whatever you please. Take a couple of these turkeys, peas. Here, take this money. As long as I got my honey, it's all gravy. Oh, you going home now? Take a side of gravy. Shout out Owen Havy. The world's crazy, so with the music we trying to make peace. So put your peace away and let's sing carols. Just for one moment, let's forget about all the perils. Do it. And joy to you and yours, of course. We shutting the windows but open the doors to any needing a friend or just wanna be friendly. Whether you got a couple grand or a couple of pennies. Many talk but don't act in a brotherly fashion. Got a passion for Christ despite if you speak with an accent. Pass them with a glance as they head to their mansions. Tough luck, huh? Better learn how to manage, not us. You need a friend to cry with, you got us. You wanna laugh and have a jolly old time, you can trust in the DS. See, we blessed so festive, they see us, and then their faces light up like the Christmas treat us. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Can't help but get excited every time that I hear Christmas carols or even Santa just ringing his bell. I always drop a couple dollars cause I'm happy to help. Here you go. Love and joy to the world, from the west coast to the NYC boroughs. Yeah, we taking a world tour to bring joy. We don't need no Santa, I'll bring the toys, and we can hop on the toboggan. I got the eggnog and a little something else. I gotta get it poppin', but this isn't bubble wrap, this is humble rap, and we send it out to the fam, uncles and aunts, and brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and pets. Yes, yes, I look around the world, this world is a mess. So what's the message? I tell my kid to count her blessings, give to others if you can, and use kindness as a weapon. This world is too small to ever be divisive. I've known some men who had it all, but their eyes were lifeless. They built the walls around themselves and blame it all on ISIS. But love must be given away before you ever find it. Whether you're nice or naughty, is peace, everybody. Love, everybody. Joy, everybody. Let's join everybody and love everybody. Hug everybody, hug anybody. Whether you're nice or naughty, is peace, everybody. Love, everybody. Joy, everybody. Let's join everybody and love everybody. Hug everybody, hug anybody. Peace, love, joy to everybody.